If you can spend just 8 minutes with me, I'm going to share some insights that have helped many people just like you gain back years of their lives by retiring earlier. Let's see how you can do this too. Number one is actually retiring early. Many of the dentists and doctors that I've coached throughout their careers, they usually start off planning on retiring at 65. But what if you could retire earlier? Who says you have to wait until you're 65 to retire, no matter what profession you're in? Many people are really kind of just worried that they're going to be bored after they retire. They'll ask me, Jeff, what am I going to do whenever I retire? Dentistry is all I've done for the past 20 years. I don't know anything else to do. Or they worry about money. They wonder, have they saved enough money? Are they going to run out of money? The idea of not working, not treating patients, and not getting a regular paycheck is really what scares them. However, those who have planned well and retired before 65 often wish they'd done it sooner. Take my friend, for instance. He's an oral surgeon in Arkansas who kept delaying his retirement each year because of things like the stock market being down. He'd always have an excuse. And then finally, guess what? He retired and now he spends roughly about half of his time. He has like a timeshare or something down in Mexico, enjoys life. He's always hosting his kids and his grandkids whenever he wants. People who retire early, they usually find more happiness and less stress when they leave their busy jobs behind. Moving on to number two is this: health over wealth. Now, this point is really important, especially if you're a doctor or healthcare professional. Think about it. You spend your days looking out for other people, often ignoring your own health in the whole process. I've talked to older doctors and dentists who are often overweight and they say, well, you know what, Jeff, looking back, I could have done more. I should have eaten better. I should have exercised more, but I didn't. Instead of working extra hours to make more money, which they thought would make them happier, they later realized they should have made more time for their own health and wellness. Staying active and eating well are key, but often overlooked because think about it, we're all busy, right? We're all hustling, trying to get more money, trying to pay bills, trying to invest more, this and that. So remember, your health is just as important or even more important than your wealth, especially as you get older. Having enough money for your needs and for your health means, guess what? You have a lot. But what's the use of having all the money in the world, which we're trying to accomplish, if you're not healthy? Moving on to number three. Many people have told me they wish they'd taken more risk. Many people wish they'd taken on more risk earlier, maybe like starting a new business or investing in a friend's startup that really sounded pretty good. Looking back, they realized they let fear control their decisions too much. Our brains are actually built to notice the bad stuff around us. Well, why is that? Well, it's a good thing because that's set up to protect us, which is helpful. But guess what? Good things can happen too, right? Now, for me, after hurting my wrist while skiing when I was 40 years old, that's what led me to start looking for ways to make money outside of dentistry, just in case I couldn't work anymore. I started to invest in real estate, and then I started to trust people outside my quote usual world of dentistry. Now, I'm not going to lie, I faced some tough times and I even lost money at first. However, it's turned out so much better in the end. The connections I've made and the large passive income stream that I've built up, which doesn't involve me doing any type of dental or clinical work, it would have never happened had I not taken any risk. Remember, yes, bad things can happen and probably bad things will happen when you take risks. That's why it's called risk. But you can also have good things happen to you as well. Those who work longer than they should have, they often wish that they'd actually just faced their fears when they were younger and taken more chances. Next up, many people wish they'd actually focus more on building important relationships, especially spending more time with their kids when their kids were younger. Now, when our kids are little, I can remember back when I was starting my practice and kids were little, they're crawling around, whatever. We're really busy. You're trying to start your practice, your business, whatever. And at that point in your career, it can be really tempting to just focus and concentrate on work. Again, I get this because I was really focused on building my practice the first 4, 5, 6 years out of dental school. But the thing is, your kids, a lot of times we're neglecting our kids. And I get that it feels feels like, you know what, when we look down and our kids are young, it feels like our kids are going to be young forever. So we might think that there's always tomorrow that we can spend time with them. Looking back, many times people will regret not spending more time with our kids when they're growing up. We wish we hadn't been so caught up in getting that next promotion or building our businesses or practices instead of have we had time to spend with our family. Another big one is actually fixing broken relationships. Sometimes, myself included, we can hold grudges or have misunderstandings that, guess what, in reality, they could have been fixed earlier. Having strong, healthy relationships with people is one of the biggest keys to happiness, especially when you retire. Not only should we fix broken relationships, but we should also think about whether there are people in our lives who actually bring us down. If somebody makes us feel bad all the time about ourselves, guess what? It might be time to spend less time with them or just cut them out altogether. Next up is about focusing on what truly matters to you instead of trying to impress others. So you want to avoid lifestyle creep. A lot of people, they end up wasting years and a lot of money buying things they really don't want just to show off to people they don't even care about. Looking back, they wish they had actually spent time and money on things that actually made them happy, not just on things that help them look good to other people. Consider investing in things that actually bring real joy and support your actual long-term goals instead, like financial freedom through investments, through real estate, things like that, not just expensive gadgets. Number 6, the next thing people actually regret is not saving more money when they're younger. So they didn't invest wisely. And that's a really big regret. Time is the best tool to grow your money. So looking back, they wish they'd actually started saving and investing smarter from an early age. Investing mistakes can be expensive, often costing thousands of dollars. It's not just about the bad investments they made, but also about whether they invested appropriately for their age. For example, somebody in their 20s, they might not have invested at all, or they might have invested just too cautiously. This can actually lead to big losses over many years because a 20-year-old has about 40 years, depending on what path they're on, to grow their money before they really need it. So it's important to be smart about where you put your money, starting to save early and actually choosing the right investments. And then last but not least, number 7, many people wish they had done this, made a plan. They wish they had had a plan for saving money for retirement so they would know exactly how much to save. This would actually have allowed them to relax and enjoy their money more. They also wish they had a plan for spending their money once they did retire so that they could feel confident during the early retirement years when they're the healthiest and they can do a lot more when they're younger versus when they're older. They wanted a financial plan to know how much could they actually safely spend each year in retirement without running out of money. Don't get stuck in retirement being one of those people who don't spend enough because they're just worried all the time they're going to run out of the money. If you don't have a plan, guess what? You run the risk of not enjoying your money during the best years of your retirement. Now, a little bit earlier on, I mentioned that I actually injured my wrist when I was snow skiing about 10 years ago, which actually led me down the road to start investing in real estate for passive income streams. If you want to learn more about my favorite investment now, do me a favor, watch this next video.